Hello and welcome to the season 5 of my podcast What's in a Story, titled Snippets from Forgotten Pages of History of South Asia. I am Lopamudra Moitro, an anthropologist, writer, translator and columnist, and in my podcast I read stories from my books on India and South Asia. The stories of this podcast are mostly from folklore and mythology and history, and I introduce each story with some additional information from the pages of history, archaeology, geology and others, which actually helps to place the stories within a specific context. In this season, we will be looking at some lesser known or completely unexplored and forgotten stories from history, which has been put together in my books through the help of old books, newspapers, gazetteers, numismatic or epigraphical evidences, which will be mentioned in the introduction of each story. These also help to provide a possible time of the origin of the story. Thanks to you listeners, this podcast, which began as a small individual effort of mine last year in May 2025, and according to the latest audience data, this podcast presently reaches across 21 countries and regions of the world, and apart from India, these are the United States, United Kingdom, Germany, Austria, Sri Lanka, Russia, France, Brazil, Australia, Singapore, Philippines, Turkey, Finland, Uruguay, South Africa, Italy, Bhutan, Curaçao, Czechia and Poland. Thanks to each and every listener who made this possible. Let's listen to today's story of season 5 of my podcast What's in a Story, titled Snippets from Forgotten Pages of History of South Asia. About today's story. The title of today's story is Of Love and Mutual Respect, and I read this from my book The Owl Delivered the Good News All Night Long, Folktales, Legends and Modern Lore of India by Aleph Book Company. The story is in Hindi, English and Bengali languages, and I collected the story and I translated it after personal interaction with Fathma Aslam, who lives in Kolkata. She fondly remembers her childhood and interactions with her grandparents. Her son Ovais Aslam was gracious enough to arrange for this personal interaction, which has been enriching in many ways. The source of the story being personal narrative. The ethos of the story is love being a prominent aspect cuts through the parochial divisions of society. Today's story also greatly centers around the Bow Barrack region of Calcutta. It's near central Calcutta. It's a historic place, a red brick residential community, and this was built during the First World War as a garrison mess for soldiers. This later became the primary cultural hub for the city's dwindling Anglo-Indian population. However, the truth is also that people from various ethnicities live here and call it their forever home. And the place has been and still remains famous for its vibrant annual Christmas celebrations. Follows the story of love and mutual respect. The story. The title of today's story is Of Love and Mutual Respect. And I read this from my book The Owl Delivered the Good News All Night Long, Folktales, Legends and Modern Lore of India by Aleph Book Company. It was just another one of those wonderful days that little Fathma really looked forward to. Trips with her maternal grandmother were always very special and exciting, as there were surprises galore. Grandma's friends, their houses, the lovely decorations in those houses, a large piano and its beautiful music, and most importantly, the aroma of a variety of dishes served by the Khanshamas, the cook. The food was traditional Jewish delicacies, which were offered so lovingly that Fathma really loved each and every trip. There were stuffed capsicums with succulent meat, rice, vegetables, which had its unique taste, and finally, there were different types of baked goodies, each one with a very distinct flavor. Fathma used to live in the Bow Barrack area near central Calcutta. She and her two younger siblings would often accompany their grandma when she went visiting her friends. Fathma, from a Muslim family, had their house very close to her maternal grandparents in the same area. Fathma was born in 1957 and was a delicate and premature baby. Her father feared losing her, but it was the confidence of her grandma which saved Fathma. She cared for the newborn and fed her with milk soaked in thin cotton swabs and looked after her till she was confident that the baby was ready to be left alone with the parents. Slowly, little Fathma gained confidence and started to grow up with her siblings. But she always shared a very special bond with her grandmother. Life was simple, but there was never a dull moment, as the house was either full of relatives or guests and their children, and celebration of festivals of all religions. Something that left its own magic for generations. Fathma's maternal grandfather, Joseph Asin, was Chinese and a Christian by faith. He owned a workshop called Jessup and Company in Domdom area near Kolkata in those days. It was mostly a welding shop of big and small things, but he used to work on many other things too. It was these other things which amused little Fathma very much, as she watched her grandfather's deft fingers at work preparing ladies' cosmetics. Besides his welding work, Fathma's grandfather made face powders and lipsticks. As a child, Fathma was very fascinated with the process of lipstick making. The base powder would be gently poured into the metal cast, which would then emerge like shining magic in various colors. There was another very interesting fact about her grandfather that Fathma was equally fascinated by. He was famous for his qawwali singing of Sufi songs. Often, there would be gatherings of singers at home with harmoniums rehearsing for various programs that were held all over Calcutta. Fathma's grandfather was well known for his voice and was famously referred to as Chine Gavaiya or the Chinese singer. Fathma's maternal grandmother, Matilda Jo Essence, was Jewish. She arrived from Israel in the early 1930s along with her maternal uncle and her younger sister. They settled in Calcutta in the Bow Barrack region. She worked as a nurse and was the head warden at the prestigious Calcutta Medical College of Kolkata. Very well known for her work, she was also often called over by rich and royal families to personally attend to patients and make house calls. Matilda was treated with respect by all of these families, and often horse-drawn carriages were sent for her for the trips that she would make to their homes. They all trusted her dedication and loving care. Matilda married Joseph Assin, and on 26th of December 1935, they were blessed with their elder daughter, Daphne. 5 years later, they had their younger daughter, Yvonne. For both daughters, life presented itself in myriad hues, with cultural values that taught them how to exist in unison through love, mutual understanding, and above all, respect for all. From a very young age, however, Daphne was drawn to the spiritualism of Islam and was touched by the soulful lyrics of Sufi music. When she was around 11 years of age, she was arranged to be married to a Chinese Christian boy. Daphne ran away from home and took shelter in a Muslim neighbor's home. The family already had 3 daughters, and Daphne was almost adopted as the 4th one. She continued to live at their residence and keenly followed the religion that she felt drawn to. She adopted Islam and became Hamida Banu and was married in due course of time to Abdul Mughni. Over the years, the couple was blessed with 13 children. Fathma was the 3rd child. Just like Joseph and Matilda's house, the Mughni household too welcomed all. No religion was excluded, and all religious festivities were observed with equal fervor in both households. Fathma used to particularly love breaking a Jewish fast along with her grandmother by worshipping the moon. This was done with the help of a special type of Jewish bread accompanied by selected fruits. The harmonious rhythm of the family retained the same beauty which Matilda had experienced at the very beginning of her life, when she had settled down with her husband in their small Bow Barrack flat, that is an apartment, in Calcutta. The grandchildren grew up learning the significance of love, mutual respect, and understanding as well. When Fathma was around 9 years old, her grandfather passed away, and Matilda struggled alone in her empty house. Though she found solace amongst her grandchildren, yet she remained restless, she often took little Fathma with her to visit her Jewish friend's home and bakery. This was the famous Nahum Bakery in New Market of Calcutta, and this is what I also mentioned at the very beginning of the story. Not in service at the hospital anymore, Matilda's financial needs were taken care of by a small donation kitty managed by the Jews of Calcutta. She visited the bakery to collect her monthly stipend. The restlessness, however, continued, exacerbated by neighborhood disturbances from rowdy little boys, pesky ones, who would often irritate her and trouble her. Now, very irritated and troubled by the continuous stress of life, Matilda finally decided to leave for Israel. When Fatima was around 13, she got married and soon gave birth to her first son in 1975. When the baby was only 2 days old, Matilda left India for Israel. She was accompanied by her younger daughter, Yvonne de Cruz, son-in-law, Eril de Cruz, and grandson, Kevin. 2 years later, moving to Israel, unfortunately, Matilda passed away. Matilda's family in Calcutta, her great-grandchildren, still remembers her fondly and maintain the same pluralistic touches of cultural and religious values taught through generations even in present times.